Okay, so sorry for the time. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Are you good? Are you fine? Okay. Now, before we start, you have to say present right here, okay? Okay. Okay, guys. So listen, please. Campuzano Jimenez.
Here.
Castillo Coto.
Here.
Estrella Benítez.
Present.
Jaramillo. Okay, Jaramillo is not here. Macías Ángel.
Presente.
Pinargote Maeva. Solís Siker.
Here.
Aspiazu García.
Present.
And Méndez Juliana.
Present.
Okay, very good. Okay, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Okay, very good. Now, let me send this. Okay. Okay, guys, so let's continue with the class of yesterday. Yesterday, we did the activities from students' book. Okay, so today we'll continue. Okay, everyone, please open your student book, unit number 12. Page number 110, okay? Sure. Okay. Everyone, please open your student book. Page 110, okay? Unit 12, number 12, okay? Now, yesterday, we read an article, okay, about the hard times to be a kid, okay? Do you remember yesterday, we are talking about the rules, okay, that you have to follow nowadays. But before, time for the kids was so difficult because in some places, okay, the kids only, the parents decide if they want to keep their child, their kid, okay, the boy or the girl, or they live to die, okay. In other places, only the boy could go to could went to the school, or in other places, the girls and the boys went to school, but in different, okay? School for the girls, school for the boys, okay? Now, we have to complete activities using the information about this story, Hard Times to be a Kid, okay? Now, over here, we have the first exercise. Look at the list. Okay, no, this one, no, this one. Okay, over here, we have these pictures, okay? We have to read and choose. Okay, listen, this is the part of listen, okay? We're going to listen this story again, okay? And you have to identify what is the correct picture and what is the correct option over here, okay? This picture is talking about the Greek, Aztec, or the both, okay? Because this story is talking about the ancient Greece and the Aztecs, okay? So listen, please.
Hard times to be a kid.
I'm not allowed to stay out late.
Why do I have to do my homework before I can watch TV?
My parents never let me go to parties.
Why is it just Mum and Dad who make the rules? Life's just not fair.
Do these complaints sound familiar? Well, if you think your life is hard, you might like to think about kids in ancient times. For some of them, life was really hard. If you were born in ancient Greece, you weren't even thought to be a real person until you'd been alive for 5 days. That's right, for 5 days after you were born, your parents were allowed to get rid of you. If they decided they didn't want you, they'd just leave you outside somewhere to die. Of course, you might get lucky and someone else might pick you up, but then you'd spend the rest of your life as their slave. However, if your parents decided that they wanted you as part of the family, then there was a special ceremony to welcome you. Only the boys were allowed to go to school. Greek girls stayed at home, where their mothers taught them skills like cooking and weaving, things that would help them find a husband. At the age of 7, some boys were sent away to very strict military schools, where they were taught how to become soldiers. Life was pretty hard at these schools. For example, the kids were often hungry. The teachers didn't let them have much food, for a reason. They wanted the boys to learn how to survive for themselves by stealing food. But if they got caught, they were punished. Aztec children in Central America also had a difficult life in ancient times. If they broke rules, they could expect some pretty nasty punishments. On the good side, Aztecs really believed in the importance of schooling. In the home, children learned practical skills. Dads taught their sons how to fish and farm, while mothers taught their daughters homemaking skills. Girls and boys also went to school, although the adults didn't let them go to the same schools. Kids went to schools called Telpakali. They had lessons about history, religion and music. The boys also had lessons in how to fight. If the children were from a more important family, they went to a Kalmekak, where they learned how to read and write too. At both schools, children had to be on their best behaviour. They knew all about the punishments for behaving badly, and life was hard enough anyway.
Okay, very good. That's a story about the kid, the hard times for to be a kid. Okay, now listen to me. This is a background information, okay? Ancient Greece is a name given to a period of Greek history from 800 BCE to 600 AD. In this period, Greece made huge advances in politics, philosophy, architecture, education, and science. Greek culture and philosophy had a powerful influence on Roman culture and formed the basis for Western civilization. Civilization is, okay. The Aztecs, listen, the Aztecs were ethnic groups of Central Mexico and Central America. The Aztec Empire was an efficient social, political, religious, and commercial organization, which dominated Central America from the 14th to 16th centuries. The Aztecs built magnificent temples and palaces, some of which are still standing today. Okay, now Telpakali, where Aztec schools attended by teenagers from age 15 onwards. From the lower classes, students were taught to serve their community or to become a soldier. The information about that talk about this story, okay? The school day started with a cold bath and was largely spent memorizing songs or learning how to use weapons to become a soldier. Now the students were punished with beatings or told to sweep the streets at night, which was considered worse than a beating. Kalmekak were Aztec school for the upper classes. Do you remember yesterday I was talking about the upper classes? Students were training to be priests, judges, and teachers. Okay, now that is the background information. Over here we have some pictures. Okay, over here we have a baby, mom, her daughter, dad, his son, and that he sang. Okay, now we have to identify for which culture this picture come from. Okay, for the number 1, Juliana Mendez, what do you think? This picture is from the story Greek or the Aztec or both of them?
Can you repeat, please?
This picture, okay, what do you think is the correct option? This picture is the story from the Greek story or Aztec? Very good. No. Aztec, no. Macias, no.
Great.
Greek, are you sure?
No. Sería Aztec.
Aztec, are you sure?
No. But
Are you sure?
no. Never.
Okay, decide
I
for
am
one.
not a mister.
Okay. Okay, read this part. Look, over here. Let me see. There's a part. Okay, over here. If you were born in ancient Greece, you weren't even thought to be a real person until you'd been alive for 5 days. That's right. For 5 days after you were born, your parents were allowed to get rid of you. Listen, if they decided they didn't want you, they just leave you outside somewhere to die, like this, okay? So this picture is from the story Greek or Aztec?
Greece.
Very good, Greek, okay? Both, no, okay. Greek, very good. Now the number 2, we have a mom and her daughter, Mr. Macias. What do you think this picture is from the story? Very good, Aztec, okay? Now the number, okay, this one, the picture number 3, Aspiazu. What do you think? It's from the story from Greek or Aztec? Sorry? Mister, I can hear you very well. Please repeat. Mister, please repeat. I can hear you very well. Or write the answer in the chat. Okay, Greek. Yes, Greek. Okay. And the last one, Mr. Estrella. Estrella, Julio. What do you think this picture is for the story from Greek story or Aztec story? Mister? Very good, Aztec, okay. Now let's check the answers. Okay, we have 2 mistakes, okay. Why? It's correct, Aztec and Greek, it's correct, but also in this part is both, okay, and this one is both, okay. Why? Because over here we have only the boys were allowed to go to school. Greek girls stayed at home where their mothers taught them skills like cooking and weaving, things that will help them find a husband, okay? And the boys, some boys were sent away to very strict military schools, okay? Now in the Aztec part, in the Aztec story, okay, okay, girls and boys also went to school. Kids went to school called Tapocali. They had lessons about history, religion, and music. The boys also had lessons in how to fight, okay? If the children were from a more important family, they went Acalmeca, where they learned how to read and write too, okay? So, but for the girls, okay, over here, that's taught their sons how to fish and farm, while mother taught their daughters homemaking skills. Okay, so that is the reason that these pictures is both and both. Okay, all right, correct. Now you have to put these answers in your student book, please. You have to complete your student books. Okay. Yes, but no, in the last one, no, only in master. Okay. Now let's continue with this one. Okay, now read and complete. Okay, we have to read again and complete these sentences. Okay, so now use between 1 and 3 words. Okay, now we have to read again this part, but first of all, we have to read the sentence. Okay, so the sentence number 1. Ancient Greeks' parents had space to decide if they wanted to keep their babies. Now, we have to read and look and find this sentence, okay? Now, let's check in what part over here, please, Mr. Macias, read this part. If you were born.
Okay, if you were born in the accident Greece, you weren't even
Thought
to be a real person until you did been alive for the 5 days. That is right, for 5 days after you were born.
Okay, stop. So 5 days, you don't consider a real person until you've been alive for 5 days. Okay, so now in the sentence number 1, say ancient Greek parents had to decide if they want to keep their babies. Okay, in this part, what do you consider, Mister, is the correct the words? Sorry.
The 5 days.
Very good, 5 days. Okay. Okay. After the 5 days, the parents consider if they want to keep their babies. Okay. Very good. Now the number 2. Unwanted babies often became. We have to complete with the correct word in this part. So let's continue read. Let me see. Okay, Miss Mendez. Please continue. Over here, your parents.
Your parents were allowed to get rid of you. If they decided they didn't want you, they just left you outside somewhere to die. Of course, you might get lucky and someone else might pick you up. But you spend the rest of your life under slave forever.
Stop. Okay, very good. So, of course, you might get lucky and someone else might pick you up, okay? So, if your parent decides to leave you outside somewhere, anywhere, okay, you consider lucky if other person pick you up, okay? Now, but then you spend the rest of your life as their slave. Yes, if other person, okay, pick you up, you will be a slave, okay? Now, in this part, number 2, unwanted babies often became what? Miss Mendes. What is the correct word in this part? Unwanted babies often became
Slave.
very good, slave. Okay, very good. ¿Están pilas? ¿Están pilas hoy día? Okay, number 3. Listen, unlike Greek girls, Greek boys. Now, this is the part of Greek girls and Greek boys. Now, let's read. Let me see. Okay, Mr. Estrella, please read this part. Only the boys
were allowed to go to school. Greek girls stayed at home. where their mother taught them skills like cooking and weaving, things that will help them find a husband.
Okay, very good, mister. Thank you. Now, only the boys were allowed to go to school, with girls stayed at home. Now, in this part, unlike Greek girls, Greek girls stayed at home. But what about the Greek boys, Mr. Estrella? If the Greek girls stayed at home, the Greek boys went to Estrella. Estrella. What do you think, mister? Unlike Greek girls, Greek boys went to Mister Estrella. Hello. Went to over here. We have the information in this part. Only the boys were allowed to go to school. Greek girls stayed at home. So if the girls stayed at home, the Greek boys go to say it.
Went
to school. No.
Very good. Went to school. Okay. Yes, that is it. Went to school. Unlike Greek girls, because the Greek girls stayed at home before, the Greek boys went to a school to learn how to fight and how to survive. Okay. Now the number 4, at military school, Greek boys didn't often have space to eat. Okay, so please, Espiazu, read this part. At the age of 7,
at the age of 7, some boys were sent away to very strict military school where they were taught how to become soldiers. Life was pretty hard at this school. For example, the kids were often hungry. The teacher didn't let them have much food.
okay, very good. So listen this part. The kids were often hungry. A menudo tenían hambre, often. The kids were often hungry. The teachers didn't let them have much food. Los profesores no le dejaban suficiente comida. Let them have much food. Now, we have to complete this part. At military school, Greek boys didn't often have to eat. Have what? What is the correct word, Mr. Espiazu?
Food.
Food. Okay, do you know the word that have the same meaning with much or have not much? This word start with E. Okay, then, okay, over here, this part, listen. The teachers didn't let them have much food. No le dejaban mucha o suficiente comida. ¿Saben cómo se dice suficiente? Start with the letter E. Okay, this is a new word. Okay, I help you with this one. Okay, es enough. Okay, enough es no suficiente. Okay, o suficiente. At the military school, Greek boys didn't often have enough to eat. Los militares de la escuela de los chicos de Grecia no les dejaban a menudo la suficiente comida. Okay, enough, suficiente. Remember this word, enough, sufficient. Okay, now the number 5. we have a space. Awaited Aztec children who broke the rules. Okay, so now please read Mr. Castillo, this part. Let me see. Okay, they wanted
the boys to learn how to
survive. Survive is the correct pronunciation.
survive for this life
Themselves.
be stealing food, but if they got caught, they were punished.
Okay, very good. Okay, so punish. Okay, continue, Mr. Continue. Aztec children.
Aztec children in Central America also an difficult life
Life.
in ancient time.
Ancient
Time, if they broke rulers, they
rules.
could some pretty nasty punishment.
Okay, very good. So Aztec children in Central America also had a difficult life in ancient times. Ancient times have the meaning, for example, the times in past, okay? Ancient time is referring the past time, okay? The past tense, okay? If they broke rules, the kids, if they broke rules, they could expect some pretty nasty punishments. Guys, did you see before the series on Netflix, Punisher? Do you recognize the character Punisher? Okay.
Yeah, the series.
Yes, that guy punished the criminal, okay? So the punish or punishment, the meaning is in español, castigar. Punisher, castigador. Sorry. Punisher, castigador. Punish with ed, castigado. Punishment, castigos. Okay, that is the meaning about punish. Okay, don't forget the words. Enough, suficiente. Punish, castigo, castigado, castigar. Okay, now, so they could expect some pretty nasty punishments. So over here we have already asked the children who broke the rules. So over here, what words do we use, Mr. Castillo?
Nasty.
Very good. Nasty.
Nasty punishment.
Very good. Nasty punishments. Okay. Now the number 6. Asian Aztecs taught education. So let's continue read the Aztec part. So please, Campuzano, on the good side, read.
On the good side, Aztecs really believe in the importance of schooling. In the home, children learn practical skills. Dads taught their sons how to fish and farm, while mother taught their daughter homemaking skills. Girls and boys.
Stop. Okay, very good. So on the good side, Aztecs really believe in the importance of schooling. So for the Aztec, it was very important to go to school. Okay, so over here in this part, Asian Aztec thought education was what?
Was important.
Very good, was important, easy. Important. Okay, now the number 7, Aztec boys and girls to the same school. So let's continue read, let me see. Okay, Mr. Solis, speaker, please read this part. Girls and boys. Solis. Speaker. Mister, are you there? Speaker, okay. Solis, please, Mr. read girls and boys. Solis.
Girls and boys also went to school, although the adults didn't
Didn't.
let them go to the same school.
Okay, so girls and boys also went to school in Aztec, okay? But the adults, the parents, didn't let them go to the same school together, okay? So one school for the girl and other school for the boy. Now, in the sentence, say, Aztec boys and girls to the same school. What words do we use in this part, Mr. Solis? Didn't? Aztec boys and girls didn't?
Didn't to the same school.
But we have to use one verb. Let's start with G. Didn't? Okay, read this part again. Look. Where's? Okay, over here. Also, the adults didn't let them
Go.
Okay, so the
Didn't
answer
school.
is, okay, yes. So the answer is didn't go,
Let them.
only didn't go, okay? Didn't go. That is the answer, okay? Didn't go. Aztec boys and girls didn't go to the same school, okay? Now, and finally, we have Calmeca, a school where for for children from important families, okay, for upper class, important families, okay. Let's go, man. What is incorrect? How? It's enough. Didn't important families. What is incorrect?
Miss, yo creo que la parte de no, eso le iba a decir.
Yes, not full. Yes, very good. Yeah, so sorry, it's my fault. A veces mis libros son así. Okay, and did it go? Eso estaba bien, no sé por qué estaba mal. Bueno, estaba bien. Didn't go and enough food. Okay, es verdad, se me olvidó, se me pasó por alto poner aquí food. Okay, now, so we complete this part. Number 1, 5 days. Number 2, slave. Number 3, went to school. Number 4, enough food. Number 5, nasty punishments. Number 6 was important. Number 7, didn't go. And finally, number 8, important families. Okay, guys, complete your student books in this part, okay, this activity. Now, we stop here. The class of today. Vamos a parar aquí, chicos. Hoy solo tenemos 1 hora. Hoy día no tienen tarea, no se preocupen. You don't have homework. Don't forget your oral presentation for Thursday, okay? El jueves tienen su exposición. ¿Se acuerdan? Sí, les mandé en agenda. ¿Les envié el documento? ¿No les envié el documento todavía? Uy, no puede ser. ¿No les envié el documento? Ya les voy a enviar en este momento, ok. Pero sí hablé sobre ese tema. ¿Y por qué no me dijeron que no les envié el documento? Ah, sí vieron. Y sí se acordaron. De las instrucciones para la exposición del día jueves. ¿Se acuerdan que les hablé el día viernes? Que tenían exposición el jueves. Sí se acuerdan, ¿verdad? Ya, ¿y por qué no me dijeron que tenías que enviar el documento? Se me pasó por algo. Es mi culpa, lo sé, pero me hubiesen avisado. Ok, ya se los voy a enviar, ok. Al finalizar la hora y ahorita mismo se los envío. Entonces nos vemos el día jueves, ok. Es una presentación súper fácil. Eso es un alumno cumplidor. Lo felicito, señor Macías. Sigan su ejemplo. Ok, ya no diga nada. Ok, no se preocupe. Ok, pero lo felicito. Entonces el día jueves no se olviden la exposición. Tienen hoy día y mañana para hacerlo. Es algo sencillo, ok. Igual ya les voy a enviar las instrucciones. Ok, va a ser individual, no va a ser de mucho tiempo. 2 minutos. más que suficiente para que puedan responder. ¿Ok? Entonces nos vemos el día jueves. I'll see you on Thursday. Take care and don't forget to send me the homework for the last week. ¿Ok? No se olviden de enviarme los deberes que aún algunos les faltan. ¿Ok? Entonces nos vemos el día jueves, chicos. Take care. Goodbye. Have a good day.